I'm Dr. Kimberly Manning.
And this is Dr. Ashley McMullen. And you're listening to the Human Doctor Podcast, where we explore the human side of medicine, along with teaching, living, learning, and all things in between. Using the power of storytelling, conversation, and connectedness.
Hey, we're two dope academic internal medicine doctors, but we ain't your doctors. So if you perceive anything we say here as medical advice, no, it ain't that. Also, the things we say, they only reflect our brilliant Black woman magic mind and not our employers.
You could have been anywhere, y'all, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate you. Let's go.
Yes, coming live and direct from Grady Hospital.
I know, right? She got the crisp white coat on and everything. I'm over here chilling in a sweatshirt.
I ain't mad at it though, but you know what? I wish I could say it's because I was in a clinical environment. It's really because I'm in my office and I'm cold.
I'm glad that's what it's good for.
Yeah. Let's do a wellness check-in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I always make you go first. I guess I'll go first.
There we go. I like that move.
Shake it up. Shake it up. I am a slightly bummed 4.6.
Okay.
And I use slightly bummed because it's not like anything real to be sad about considering what's all happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really looking forward to a visit that I had coming up to Duke University.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
To give a lecture called the McGovern Lecture. I was really looking forward to doing this. But as it turns out, on the very day that I'm supposed to be there, there's a big winter storm coming to North Carolina.
Mm.
So I'm slightly bummed that I won't be able to go and visit and make new friends at Duke.
Yeah.
During that time. But I'm extremely grateful that the communication was so great by everybody there that kind of gave me the heads up because I hadn't even seen that on the news.
Yeah.
So I guess on the bright side, I get to spend more time with my ward team, and there's some residents I'm really looking forward to working with. So yeah.
I feel you.
And I hope everybody there is safe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously, you know, me being annoyed that I don't get to hang out with people, I'm sure pales in comparison to, you know, these types of storms. They do damage to people. So, you know, this is me sending good vibes to my North Carolina friends, you know, hoping your pipes stay, you know, piping and you know, trees stay upright and all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
What's up with you?
I think I'm going to say a reflective 4.5, although I can't remember if I was reflective last week too.
Okay.
It's a usual state of mind for me.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. You know, it's been a quiet couple days, quiet weekend. It's a holiday today that we're recording on. It also happens to be my mother's birthday. Which
Happy
I know,
birthday, Mama.
yes, is the day after your mom's birthday.
I know. It's
Yeah.
mom season.
Exactly.
Aw.
You know, I've been doing a lot of reading. One of my new favorite books is Becoming Wise by Krista Tippett, the longtime host of On Being,
I like that.
the podcast. And just thinking a lot about virtues, love and hope and faith and what these things mean for me in this moment. And so it's been a lot of that. You know, I actually, if I could trade my verbiage, I would say maybe not so much reflective as contemplative. I think that's where I've been for a while. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Thinking about faith, hope, and love, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. I can't even say necessarily that the greatest of these is love right now, because I mean, hopefully it's hope right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another book that I've been kind of picking up and putting back down a bunch is Jesus and the Disinherited by Howard Thurman. So another contemplative writer who I really think, you know, just helps remind us, you know, the timelessness of these virtues and how to sit still for a minute, even as the waters around us are constantly churning,
Mm,
and really kind of meet this moment with a little bit of wisdom instead of just reacting.
yeah, that's beautiful. Howard Thurman, you just be throwing some. I mean, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Howard Thurman.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. You are really an old soul.
I
I always
know.
thought you were an old soul, but like that one right there, like, okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to embrace it. Like sometimes it's like, God, I am
Yeah.
so lame sometimes, but
No,
I
it's
just
definitely not lame. No, it's definitely not lame. And besides, you keep me young. So I'm like up here hanging out with you all the time. And as you have to listen to me turn on fans and hot flash stories, such. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love thinking about what you're thinking about and then finding things to help you think more about what you're thinking about.
yeah.
Um, and even like pulling up a person, a thought leader from like before your generation lets you know that a lot of times you think what you're thinking is something new under the sun, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like,
Exactly.
and I love that. I love when I run across something and I'm like, oh, you know what? Somebody was already thinking about this in a whole different context, but huh, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. What's the book by James Baldwin? The Fire Next Time?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is a book. I think we talked about it on here before, but like that book, you read it and you're like, wow, wow,
Uh-huh.
wow, whoa, wow. You wrote this one. Whoa,
I
yeah,
know, right? I actually picked that one up. It was in December while I was on that cruise. I brought that with me and I was just like, this man is timeless.
yeah. I mean, he brings it.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see. What am I thinking about right now? Well, you already heard me kind of fussing a little bit about this before we started recording, and it is just how people use artificial intelligence. I just like to say, look, if you're going to use artificial intelligence, whatever, whichever one you like, ChatGPT, Copilot, whichever one you choose, I want you to go back and edit it so that it sounds like you. And if you're using it on something that you're submitting to a grown person, particularly one who is of my generation, please remove the question prompt
Hmm.
from what you share. But yeah, I sometimes I feel like so old school. Like I'll look at stuff and I'll be like, well, why is this? And why is that? But let me say this. This is a positive thing that I've
Hmm.
been using AI for. I use AI to help me with cooking stuff in my refrigerator or with exercising. The
Hmm.
first time I ever did it, I was somewhere and I didn't have I wasn't near a gym, and there was a 15-pound jar of pickles in this Airbnb I was in. And I put into ChatGPT, or rather, whichever one I used, I said, what is a 25-minute hit workout that I can do that is intermediate to advanced, full body, and that could utilize a 15-pound jar of pickles as a simulated weight. And it was like, it gave me a workout. Yeah, so it turns out, you can actually do some good like sumo squats,
Uh-huh.
chest presses. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was a good workout with the
Yeah. Well, I mean, my primary question is just why? Why is there a jar of pickles in the Airbnb and why
I
is it so
really don't
heavy?
know. I don't know, but it was a big A jar of pickles. And nobody had opened it. And it looked like it had come out of like one of those, bulk stores.
Hmm.
But it was a humongous jar of pickles and it was 15 pounds. And I was like, you know what? This is the closest thing I have to a weight. How can I do this and not bust it all over the floor or whatever? And good old AI was like, okay, if you hold it near your chest, like it described like what I should do with the
That's
jar.
amazing.
That was kind of
Amazing. Well, sis, jars of pickles aside, I gotta say, any week that you're telling this story is the week that I look forward to. I'm so, so excited to hear what's coming through from your archives,
Mm.
which are wide as they are deep, full of wisdom, full of humor, and words to live by.
I receive that. I receive that
Yes.
this recording day.
Yes. So as I sit back and wait for this non-AI generated story, because I will know the difference, I would love to know, sis, what's the what?
Based upon the story that I know is in your head, a thoughtful response to this question is okay. Can I use something with a hyphen?
Yeah,
Okay,
there's no rules.
good.
Well, actually, Jolie makes the rules. So,
Jolie does make the rules. Shout out to Jolie.
yeah,
The what is self-image?
self-image. Okay,
Self-image.
this is good. I can already tell.
You already feel it. One of my favorite sayings is what you say impacts what you see.
Mhm.
Um, but sometimes what you say is going on inside of your head. It's not really going on anywhere else. And it's often um, a a product of what's going on around you and what evidence you are seeing of yourself around you, right? So I'm gonna actually take you back to 1994
Ooh.
to 1995,
Hmm.
around that time. So um, I went to Meharry Medical College. For those who are not familiar with Meharry is a historically black medical school, one of the two to survive the Flexner Report. And one of the special things about Meharry, at least when I was there, is it was a school that oftentimes could see potential in people that maybe other medical schools didn't see. A lot of my classmates, Meharry was maybe one of two schools they had been accepted to. We had a lot of students there from historically black colleges. So after I left Tuskegee, it was really magical to land at Meharry because it really felt like a continuation of my experience at Tuskegee, but while becoming a doctor. So like the medical school was there, the dental school was there. We have graduate studies there. It was really a nurturing, warm environment.
Mm.
One of the things we know about, when it comes to the path to professional school, and all the things you read about people who come from, historically excluded backgrounds, is that sometimes navigating things like standardized tests and stuff like that can be more challenging for those groups. And if you have, five black students at a very large majority medical school, then it may not be as palpable when, one of those five people is unsuccessful at passing the board.
Hmm.
But if you concentrate a whole bunch of students and include in that cohort some students who were not like straight from a Ivy League school and who maybe don't have the same type of, socioeconomic backgrounds as some other folks, take all of those people and you concentrate them together in a medical school, you just might know more people who have, some speed breakers get thrown down in front of them as they go on their path.
Yeah.
It does not mean they were not meant to be doctors and that they should not be doctors and that we don't need them to be doctors. It just means that concentration can sometimes make it a little harder if you're somewhere like that. So I say all that to say that while I was at Meharry, I knew people. It was nothing to know somebody who had failed the board. And the board, I need to just provide some context. You do your preclinical part of medical school, and the first test you take is something called step one. And the USMLE step one is the first step you take before you can go into your clinical rotations. I know you know this, Ashley, but for
It's
our
okay.
listeners. And then when you prepare to go into your fourth year, or as you're somewhere in your fourth year of medical school, final year, you take something called step two. And step two is another standardized test that you need to be able to graduate from medical school. And then after that, there's another one, step three, and then you just take your certifying exams and your specialty after that. But finished my sophomore year at Meharry, everybody in the whole United States took the boards on the same day, June 8th and June 9th, 1994. Still remember it.
Mm.
And I've talked about this before, that date. But Uh, I will tell you that up until the day I married Harry Manning, the day I opened my envelope and found out I passed step one was the happiest day of my life, which is crazy
Mhm.
because I graduated from Tuskegee with honors. I was an excellent student. I was a good student in medical school. I was a student leader. There was nothing about me that like was an academic risk. But because I knew people who had, who had failed that test before. And of course, when somebody is unsuccessful at something, it becomes newsworthy. And the horror story is the one that like rises up to the top and everybody talks about it.
Mhm.
So, I, we were just all so afraid of failing that exam.
Mm.
And it wasn't even like I thought about my score. It never even occurred to me to think about what my score would be. I wanted to pass. And this was back when that exam wasn't pass fail. It was like you got a score.
Yep.
Like I still remember like what happened when I opened the envelope. I fell to the ground, like outside of the, dean's office, which is where we physically had to come and get our score.
Ooh, wow.
And it'll be like vultures waiting outside, waiting to see who was happy, who was sad,
Right? Oh my God.
but I opened my envelope and collapsed, like, and cried and thanked Jesus on the spot. I was like, people were running up to me, hugging me, whatever. It was as if I had like
Just
was
like,
waiting for a biopsy result. It was like it was life or death, but it was truly, truly the happiest moment of my life. I could not think of anything else that came close to it until my wedding day.
mm,
So, you know, I was happy. And, I did know some people who were not successful, so which made me even feel more grateful for it.
yeah.
And I went into my clerkships and my clerkships went fine and, was doing my thing. And I got to my fourth year of medical school. And back in the day, because I was real, real broke, I got some like catalog that had all of the away rotations that came with a stipend. And I applied for them.
Mhm.
And I applied for one away rotation in Cleveland, Ohio at Case Western. Um, had no reason to go up there. I'm from California and I was living in Tennessee, but I was like, oh, wait, wait a minute. What is this stipend that you have for these
Yeah.
students? Oh,
This
and
is
you
it.
have housing?
Right?
Oh,
Dollars
oh,
and
well,
cents? Oh, okay. Bet.
like, and as I recall, it was a lot of money. It would be a lot of money now, but back then it was really a lot of money.
Hmm.
So me and my dear friend Jada, not my mentor,
I was
Jada
about to ask. I
Bussy
was like,
Jones,
not.
not Jada Bussy Jones,
I
Jada
was
Moore
like,
Ruffin,
hold up now.
my lab partner and classmate, partner in crime, bridesmaid, sorority sister, my girl.
Mm,
We we applied to this program together and got accepted to it. So I believe it was like October of our M4 year. We were in Cleveland for the month, and we this program, it was something set up through former Surgeon General David Satcher, who's an alum of Case Western. And it was a real like structured program that allowed us to do clinical rotations, but we had mentors and, people who looked out for us and everything. So there was this Black woman assigned to the two of us as our mentor. And she invited us over for dinner one day. So, it's fine. It was like halfway through the clerkship. And we were excited to go to her home. She's grown, so it was a nice house and everything. But the very same day that she invited us over, our scores had come back for step two.
mm,
And because we were away, we couldn't go to the office and get them. So we had to like go through all these things to get our scores. But we had found out like moments before going to this lady's house that both of us had passed step two.
mm.
Forget the score. Like we didn't even like I can barely even remember the score. We had passed. That meant we were graduating. We were so happy. It was all we could talk about. It was all we could think about. We were so happy. And we knew people also who didn't pass.
Yeah.
So we sat at this lady's dinner table and she's talking to us and she's advising us, and we are just beside ourselves with the amazing, like, oh my gosh, the look that the two of us, we passed step one, then we passed step two. We passed both of the boards. We just kept going on and on and on about it. And because our families didn't have doctors in them, our families had like sort of came to see all of this through our eyes.
Hmm.
They saw it as this gigantic, like, Mount Everest mountain that, we had gotten to the pinnacle of. And so our families responded appropriately. Oh my God.
Hmm.
But this lady was a whole entire doctor. She was grown and she had been on faculty for a while. And so in the middle of like probably the 750th like thing we said about passing that exam, she leaned forward on the table and she just rested her chin in her palm and she kind of squinted her eyes. And then she just kind of gave her head this tiny, like incredulous head shake. And it was very clear that this was not proud. If anything, it was like she felt sorry for us.
Ooh.
And she held that position long enough to get us to settle down and rest our eyes on her to see like what this was about. And she was like, "Why are you both so happy to have passed this exam? That surely you were smart enough to pass. They call it step one and step two for a reason. It is just a step toward you becoming a doctor. It is an exam designed for people to pass and move forward." And we doubled down. We were like, yeah, but people don't pass. People don't be passing this exam. She said, you do realize the vast majority of those who take this exam do pass. We were like, still like, yeah, but all we could think of is the homies that we knew who were like still on the struggle. And we're thinking, oh, she's at this majority school. That's why she don't understand. She not in,
Hmm.
she ain't in the bricks with us. But she said, you are eventually going to get caught up by one of these exams if you continue
Mm.
to think this way.
Mm.
She's like, so she started asking us questions about who we were in school and what we were like in college and the MCAT and stuff like that. She's like, you don't, I've talked to people rotating with you, in the hospital. I've been getting to know you. You're bright. You're capable. Why do you have this image of yourself as somebody that is like at the mercy of the universe with a giant, pair of die, like to gamble on you? You're not a gamble. Like what is going on with you guys? And she's like, is this the culture that you're dealing with at Meharry? And at that time, yeah, it was.
Ooh.
It was. She's
Hmm.
like, that is really sad. How happy you are about passing this exam is really, really, really sad. Because actually, neither one of us had a high score. You know, I think I got on step one, I got a 207, which back then, wasn't no great score. And so I took step two early to try to get a higher score on it, or I thought, or just to
Hmm.
get out the way early. And I got a 207 on that too. And I still thought that this made me like a superstar because I had passed. She was like, you're so happy to like do the minimum that you're not even aiming for something higher.
Mm. Wow.
So she's like, you are going to have to get used to succeeding. You're going to have to get okay with that, and you're going to have to like change your expectation of yourself and your self-image as somebody who wins. And it's funny, like in every other aspect of my life, I've always operated that way. I've always operated as if I was going to win.
Hmm.
Um, put my name in the hat, even if I lose, even if you don't pick me, I'm gonna put my name in the hat because why not me? But something about medical school it just seemed like I always felt lucky. I always felt like, oh, I got into medical school. I'm so lucky. Like even when I was applying to medical school, the goal was to get accepted to medical school.
Yeah.
I never even thought about, oh, what if I get accepted to as many medical schools as I can and choose the one that has the best financial aid package. I didn't even think that way because the lowest bar was for somebody to say yes.
Mm,
Take me off your waiting list. Let me in, coach. And I think that self-image was built by the culture
yeah.
that I was in. Um, and I rage against that so hard now when I'm talking to students, particularly students who are at historically Black schools. Um, I make sure they know exactly who they are, so that they don't expect to lose and are shocked and elated by somebody like, no, I did not win the lottery. I studied for this exam because I was deserving and I was successful.
Mm.
This was not a stroke of luck. That lady barely remembers, probably. I'm sure she doesn't remember this. That was that was so many years ago, but that was a pivotal moment in my whole life because it completely told me that like from now on I got to stop thinking that way. And it's how I approached my boards when I got out of residency. Like I took the medicine board in August and the peds board in October in the same year as a chief resident. And all I kept saying to myself was, I am smart, I am capable, and why would I not pass this exam designed for the majority of takers to succeed? I'm a competent physician and pediatrician and internist. I should pass this exam.
Mm. God. I mean, I see this from so many lenses. I can imagine as an attending and you have, these students who are in your house and they're so, so excited. Like something in you feels strongly enough to like pump the brakes on someone else's celebration to be like, actually, like, this is not the thing that you need to be celebrating, at least not in the same way. And, when you ask kind of this question of just like, where do these narratives come from that, we've somehow, against all the evidence, decided that we are the exception. We are the place for which the bar needs to be lowered. There's a lot to be said about culture, both within and outside of medicine. But, medical culture in particular, even though we've made very slow and delayed moves to get away from this, there is still so much of your self-worth and your image that is attached to like a singular test that can go either way on any given day.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. It's almost like the Olympics, right? Like
Yeah.
when these folks put in all this work and they're running at an elite level anyway. So they're there already. Like what, of course you're a winner.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, it's just it's it's crazy when I think about how happy I was
Mm-hmm.
to pass those exams. Um, and it's funny that we brought up Duke earlier because when I interviewed at Duke, I remember somebody looking at my application in an interview and saying, "Let's talk about your step one and step two scores. So what happened?"
Ooh.
I did not know until that moment that my score was not good.
Mm-hmm.
All I thought was that you need to do was pass. Like, what? I passed. I passed the first time. I remember saying back to the person, "Oh no, I passed on the first time." They were like,
Okay.
"As opposed to what? As opposed to what time?" I guess if a person is listening to this, I do think these things can become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah, that's
And I
big.
think that's what she was trying to tell us. She was
Yeah.
trying to say that the more you like completely come unhinged and leap for joy at doing the bare minimum, the less likely you are to get to a higher rung on the ladder. You're gonna stay where you are. You might stay like right at the first level, but you won't get any further. And I'm really, really grateful. I can't even remember her name. I'm just so grateful that she threw a flag on a play that day.
Yeah. It's hard for you alone to reshape the narrative that you've assigned to yourself. Sometimes someone else has to see it
Yep. Oh,
and
that's
help you reshape it just by naming that you should want more. And I can think of now, several mentees who come to me for advice. And really the only thing that I do is remind them of what already exists.
Yep. Just turn the mirror back on you and let you see what I see right
Mm-hmm.
now. And stop selling yourself short and stop expecting the minimum. Don't be happy with the minimum.
Yeah.
And what we do, it builds culture. Like we're all a part of that culture. So, you know, I think the more we talk about things like this, the more some of our scholars who are deserving and who are excellent will get okay with succeeding. I think her saying, you're going to have to get okay with succeeding and start to expect that of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you're going to take boards for the rest of your life. And do you know you're going to go to work the next day and ain't nobody going to care about what you did on a board? Like, this is a natural part of like what you do. I was like, wow. Yeah. She's like, this is a very natural part of our job. Like you shouldn't, this is, this is pathological the way y'all are responding to this.
Man.
That's not nice, lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
she threw some truth on y'all. That's amazing.
A truth bomb, a
Ooh.
truth bomb. But self-image is a mighty, mighty thing. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever seen that little picture? It's like a little kitten and it's staring into a mirror. And what's looking back at the kitten is this like lion. Yeah, it's this, and I think sometimes, especially for women and people from minoritized groups, they are the lion
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking in the mirror and what they're seeing is the kitten.
Ooh.
And as long as that is what you see, you will shrink to fit. We ain't doing that no more.
Yeah.
Yep. Be a lion, man.
Be a lion. Well, sis, when it's time for me to, renew my internal medicine boards, I'm going to have to hit you up again because,
Or you can just listen to this episode.
yeah, right. I'm a flag this one because that's coming up a little sooner than I would like.
Yeah, yeah. Don't even get me started talking about maintenance of certification. That's a whole separate episode.
Yeah, we'll save that one for later.
Well, sis, it has been real, it has been fun, and it has been real fun.
Yes, it has.
Remember who you are. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
That wraps up this week's episode of the Human Doctor Podcast.
Special thanks to our favorite brother gastroenterologist, Dr. Chuma Obiname, for the beats. Shout out to the Dr. Ashley McMullen for editing and production.
Mad love to our podcast family at The Nocturnist and the Clinical Problem Solvers, our Med Twitter fam.
And especially shout out to all of you, our listeners.
Until next week, remember,
we see you and you are enough. Holla!